morning. Good morning, good morning. Right? Everybody, hold on. I hope everybody had a restful and wonderful weekend. Gave you guys a bit of a break to recharge, catch up on sleep, get some sunshine, whatever that may be. I hope you had a good weekend. Let's go ahead and do our daily message from the Qur'an, and then we are getting right back into 2 Kings to go ahead and discuss what's happening. Okay, a lot is happening in this next part, as well as the part after. So let's go ahead and discover that in just a few moments. All right, before we do, I have a little friend here. It's gotten so big. Hi, little friend. Okay, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Alright, so we did read this verse before, and we might as well just go through it again. Maybe we'll discover another insight, but we didn't read it not too long ago. Surah 16, line 81. Let's record this here. And Surah 16 is An-Nahl, which means the bees. An-Nahl. And this is a very important concept for believers and non-believers both to understand, is the role that the Lord plays. I don't know what's going on over there. Somebody's getting into something. Shishi. This is every morning, you guys. Let me just go disrupt whatever they're doing because a door might come off its hinges. Give me a moment. Sheesh. Alright. I'll let it be for now. There's always something going on this morning. Alright. Reposition, and I'll read it out first. As always, it reads, "It is Allah who made out of the things he created some things to give you shade. Of the hills he made some for your shelter. He made you garments to protect you from heat, and coats of mail to protect you from your mutual violence. Thus does he complete his favors on you, that ye may bow to his will in Islam." Okay. I think it's a little bit early for me to be coming on, but as I said before, I have a schedule change that is having me come on a little bit earlier. Right away, what I'm noticing, maybe what we did not talk about last time, is the fact that our lives are somewhat easy. Of course, we go through difficulties and hardship, but when we experience that difficult and hardship, it is always pronounced, right? It's always noticeable when we go through something, because normally our lives are very easy. Some geographical regions more than others. Nonetheless, all of the things that we have, they're very well provided for. They're easily provided to us. Sorry, you guys. They were just outside all morning, trying to get their energy out. I remember last time we discussed this verse, it was attributing all creation to Allah, right? He is Al-Musawwir, the fashioner. So he fashions and creates everything, even the things that are made by human hands physically. He's promoted them and allowed them to come into existence. So even the things created with human hands, whether that be our clothes, a useful invention, a beautiful work of art, those things are permitted to come into existence through the talent of, or through the work that Allah provides us with. I need to get up in a second and go fix whatever they're doing over there. The protect. We also discussed that he does provide us with armor, really, back then and now, right? He says we have coats of mail to protect you from your mutual violence, establishing that a lot of the violence that occurs is by our own human hands. Nonetheless, he will do what he can to go ahead and allow us to be protected, allow us to have some kind of defense mechanism. A lot of animals have that naturally. But he does provide, right, in ways that we might not think of, really is what this verse is saying. Ways that we would not normally attribute to the Lord. But speaking of mutual violence, there is an instance that we'll read about in this next part of 2 Kings, where he actually inflicts violence through his angel. And it doesn't say how exactly the violence comes about. It just does say that it happens through an angel that he had sent down. So we'll go ahead and learn about that, and we'll discover why. And I think that's a lot of the complaint that individuals, non-believers, would have with, reading the Bible, or even reading the Qur'an, even though it's a very non-violent book. As we have noticed, it's more of a warning kind of book and a reminding kind of book. The Bible contains a lot of violence, so they attribute that violence to Allah. But it's really just to go ahead and organize, reorganize, and subdue a lot of the things that have been already going on due to our own human nature. But with this, right, we have to just remember Allah is Al-Musawwir, He is the fashioner, He is the creator. He allows and disallows things to come into existence. He allows and disallows things to go ahead and carry out, while still attributing to us our free will and our own desire. So that's a very special balance to go ahead and maintain, so that really just shows the glory and the power of the Lord, how that balance is always, always in order. Like I said, our lives are relatively easy, I would say, especially over here in the West. They're relatively, you know what I'm saying, relatively easy compared to that of if we had nothing at all. Say we were on a barren landscape, somewhere on another planet, floating in space, completely barren, naked, right? The beginnings of maybe a new life somewhere. It would be a little bit more difficult. But because we have the Lord, right? If we didn't have the Lord, that's what our life would turn out to be, just completely barren. Because we have the Lord, our life is nothing but barren. Even, talking about in Genesis how we have Adam and Eve, they were provided with mostly everything, right? Things to eat, animals to take care of. They had partners, right? They had a partner. Adam had Eve as his partner. So they were really provided with everything. And without Allah, right, it would be very, very bleak and very, very difficult, I would say. The life would be very, very difficult. So we are happy and we're blessed and we're grateful to have this ease instilled upon us by Allah. course, just a little reminder of gratitude. We talk about the signs. We talk about how it is important to pay him tribute and respect with everything. If we have the clothes on our back, food on our table, very, very important. I've talked about all of this before. All right. And very important to this last part. I know we've discussed this time and time again, but since it's here, we might as well talk about it. Thus does he complete his favors on you, that ye may bow to his will in Islam. So an explicit instruction to go ahead and bow to his will. And this part right here is very important, to submit yourself to the Lord. If you submit yourself to the Lord, your life actually becomes even easier. Maybe from an outward perspective, outside looking in, it looks difficult. But if you're walking with Allah and you're learning his ways and you're submitting, your life to him, even the most difficult times of your life, even the most challenging challenges that would arise, they become very, very easy to deal with and very, very easy to get through. It's almost like it's not even, it's just, I would say, it's almost a little bit void of all those negative emotions that we would normally feel. And the emotion that we feel normally, that's what makes things hard, right? We go through something and we experience anxiety, we experience the stress, we experience the impact on maybe our family members. But walking with him, those harsh and negative emotions are semi-numbed, right? You kind of have blinders on and you're only thinking about his will and his love for you. So all those hard emotions kind of fade away. I know it's kind of a bleak way to look at it, but it's very true. Yes, that ye may bow to his will in Islam. So bowing and submitting yourself, praying, don't be afraid to get on your hands and knees and prostrate. Put your head down, at least once a day, say thank you, spend some time with him. It's in that moment where your head is on the ground that is the most intimate that you could get with him, truly, when it comes to sharing your heart. And of course, just speaking to him like he's your friend, right? Speaking to him like you are very close, because you are very close. Your hearts are nearly one, okay? Especially in moments of prayer. And just remembering that gratitude part as well. Because our lives are so easy, even in the most difficult times with Allah, they become easy, they become blessed, they become blissful, I would say. It becomes blissful. All right, I'm just going to end this here. And let's go ahead and get into a difficult time, a very difficult time in 2 Kings. It may not seem so difficult because the Lord is walking with Judah. And even though they're under fire in a way, the Lord definitely provides for them in this moment. So I'll go ahead and get on. See you guys in just a second. Thank you.